just have to say, isn't it so nice of Mayor Dyer? Every week he waits and makes himself available and sits down in front of the camera to do that opening week after week after week.
Memorize his lines so perfectly. Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. Oh, sure. Yeah. Right, he's waiting. We got to bring him in.
This is Mayor Buddy Dyer. We've all been affected by the coronavirus. We're staying at home and keeping people safe, but a lot of people rely on performing in front of live audiences to earn their income. So tonight, we're doing this benefit for them. I want to thank all the talent that's involved here tonight, and I urge those of you who have tuned in to contribute.
Well, Kenny, I just have to say, isn't it so nice, Mayor Buddy Dyer, to be ready for us every week, waiting there on the camera to get that little message.
Memorizes all those lines.
We have such a big show. We've got no time for nonsense. So let's just remind ourselves why we're here, to capitalize on what the mayor said. We're raising money to give to out-of-work actors, many of whom depend on their incomes based on gig work, and they don't qualify for traditional means of support. And even the ones who do, we're in Florida with the fucked up, geared up to fail unemployment website that no one can get through. So even if they qualify, they can't get money. So that's why we're here. All right. So listen, our first guest this evening, one of those who's the envy of all working actors, because in 1983, he went directly from graduating from the theater studies department at Yale University to landing an off-Broadway role in Macbeth. So fast forward to 1993, and then he's the Tommy and the narrator, Tommy narrator in The Who's Tommy Broadway, and gets his first Tony Award nomination for his very first Broadway show he was ever in. Then in 2000, he premieres in London's West End in the title role of Hedwig and the Angry Inch. And in 2004, he wins his first Tony Award for playing John Wilkes Booth in the Broadway revival of Assassins. And then in 2012, he plays Juan Perón in the revival of Evita, which Kenny Howard had a hand in producing. And then in 2015, he wins his second Tony Award for portraying Bruce, the father, in Fun Home. And a lot of our Orlando listeners, you may have seen him on stage here at the Dr. Phillips Center for the Performing Arts when the whole Broadway cast came down on their one night off and did a staged reading version, concert version of Fun Home here for us after the Pulse tragedies. And on TV, he's known for his appearances as the observer in the Netflix show Fringe. I don't know if I forgot anything. I'm sure I have, but we are fucking delighted to welcome to the showcase two-time Tony Award winner, Michael Cerveris.
And I am fucking delighted to be here.
Well, we're fucking delighted to have you.
I have to say that description makes it sound so much easier than I remember it being.
That is not always the case. Oh, so first, tell us where you are.
I was in New York until March 25th, and I, had been holed up in my apartment there, and I just decided at a certain point that it wasn't doing me any good to be there, and I wasn't able to help people in any way from there that I wasn't able to do from elsewhere. So I found a short-term rental place up in northeastern Pennsylvania on a river in the middle of mountains, and I've just kind of exiled myself up here for a while, hopefully on my way to see my father in Pittsburgh, but I kind of didn't want to go from New York straight to Pittsburgh without making sure that I was as disease-free as I could figure out.
There's some severe social distancing.
Yeah.
How are you doing through all of this?
Well, I think I've been, doing the 7 stages of grief thing that we're all doing, like every morning, afternoon, and evening. Like there are days when it feels like if I just tried a little bit, I could convince myself that everything is really fine, and nature is kind of spring is happening, and I can sometimes believe that everything is kind of fine and it's going to be fine. And then there are other times when I'm just in such anxiety for, for myself, although I feel safe and secure here, but really more for my friends and family and, people who are in much tougher situations than I am, or just the unknown of all of this. Who knows what's going to happen to any single person that we love and care about, no matter what age they are, no matter how healthy they are. And then just looking at the completely failed response on the part of the people who are supposed to be handling this, from government, federal government on down, depending on where you live, and knowing that people are really kind of on their own, and it's really terrifying. And then especially when I think about my friends in the arts and in the theater, and the uncertainty of what is going to be out there in the future and how it's all going to have to change. Sometimes I feel like it's a great opportunity for us to suddenly become more, have more ingenuity and more creative and think outside the box. And it's a chance in a way to kind of reinvent a lot of failed systems, even in our business, even in the theater. And I hope we take the opportunity to do that, but you don't know.
Yeah, I think it's definitely, the uncertainty is one thing that's really, I think, gotten to us, and it's just, that's a lot to think about and so you try not to, you try to take it more day by day. And but I don't think anyone, once we start going back to work, I don't think even the people with the most monotonous jobs are ever going to think that they're as monotonous as they first were, because this is kind of extreme monotonous.
And doing this is one way of working through that. And hopefully when it's done, we're reminded how much of our connectivity to one another actually, what value it really has.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think sometimes I wonder if thinking about a time when it's going to be done is actually not the way we should be thinking about it, that in a way it's not ever going to be done, because it's changed everything in ways that will continue to have ramifications, even once there's a vaccine, even once we know things about how delicate the balance that we've all been, walking for so long. We now see how the holes in the safety net and who's really valuable in our society at given times. And so hopefully we won't be done with a lot of the things that we're learning and getting to think about now.
Yeah.
I definitely.
Well, I had the good fortune of seeing you at a dress rehearsal for Evita, due to a well-timed trip to visit Kenny in New York. And then when he said he had to leave to go to dress rehearsal, I was like, well, you're not going to leave me alone, are you? So I got to see you just about a week before you opened, and I honestly thought that
was I still doing the tango at that point?
Yes, yes. And Fun Home.
Oh, well, yeah, I just was going to say, I know that people are still talking about your performance here at Fun Home, and I just kind of wanted to let people know, like, a little bit about what all you do for the community, because we were doing Evita, and then the Sandy Hook happened, and that was the first time that we did From Broadway with Love, and you actually were a part of that. You sang Finishing the Hat, I think. And
I sang with the kids too. I sang Sunday with the kids.
And then when Orlando happened, I called Van and we talked about doing the From Broadway with Love here. And then one of the first people that I reached out to was you. And you and I were Facebooking like crazy, and Michael was all in. And then his producers had this great idea, which it was a great idea, to come down and bring, because I don't think that show would have necessarily played Orlando at any other time. Eventually, I think it would, but we'll never know because you guys came and did it. But that it just, in the end, the producers, we had to talk for lighting made sure that we could just switch over, because we were switching over the very next day, that our lighting plots were at least somewhat amenable to each other, which they were. We didn't change anything. And then you were going to ask, you asked if you could stay, because you did have a show the next day in New York. You really wanted to be a part of From Broadway with Love.
I did.
But your producer said no, and rightfully so. I completely understand. But he wanted to be there in spirit. But in the end, Orlando won out because we had two shows.
We had back one night after the other. Fun Home first, and then From Broadway with Love next. So on the subject of Fun Home, since we can't allow you to perform because of equity regulations, we do have a clip that relates to Fun Home. Could you set that up for us?
Yes, I think this is, it's from a series that Broadway.com does, I think, called Character Studies. And they will go into an actor's dressing room and just sort of follow their process, their nightly process from the time they get to the theater till the time they go on stage, and what their makeup and, costume process is, if that's complicated. For me, it always seems to involve putting on somebody else's hair at some point or another. And then just sort of talking to you about your internal process and how you arrived at the character and stuff. They're really beautiful little studies of actors and at work. And so this is one of those from Fun Home.
All right, Rich, let's take a look at that.
I'm Michael Cerveris, and I play Bruce Bechtel in Fun Home. Bruce Bechtel is the father of the family. He wears a lot of hats. He runs the family funeral home. He's also a high school English teacher. He's also has a love of doing all kinds of restoration. So he's restored the Victorian home that the family lives in Beech Creek, Pennsylvania. He's also been a closeted gay man his whole life. I've had a lot of demanding parts before, but I don't think I've ever had anything that has been as difficult night after night to carry around with me as Bruce. It may be because there's no release in this. Bruce gets to the precipice of maybe understanding something about himself, and at that moment his story ends. I think that's a lot of what makes it such an emotionally draining thing to do. I have a lot of photographs around the dressing room. Some of them are pictures of my own family in the period of that's covered by the show in the 70s. A lot of them with me trying desperately to be David Cassidy. These photos are all of the actual Bechtel home in Pennsylvania. I'm such a dog person. My dog Gibson, who I adopted when I was doing Tommy, passed away about, I guess, almost 5 years ago now, and maybe it's just sort of the emphasis on family and home and everything that this play is. I just started really noticing the absence of a little furry creature in my house. I named her Evangeline. She seems to love everything about being a theater dog. David Zinn's costumes for the show are so great. My dad, wore those kinds of outfits, and so it's very 70s hip professor sort of wear. His appearance and how he wanted to present himself to the world was extremely important to him. It's why the scene where Allison says, "You're wearing a girl color," is just devastating to him. He didn't want to draw attention unnecessarily. This part has taken everything that I've learned in the past 30 plus years since I got out of college. I feel like I'm in exactly the role and the production and the story that I'm supposed to be doing. That and the fact that it's resonating the way it does with people. It feels like we're just getting started.
Well, that really is a great one. There's another one I think of in Evita too, when you're getting dressed for Perron. They like to follow you around getting dressed.
Well, because I have nice dressing rooms usually, so they're usually nice locations to film in.
Well, thank you so much for coming out. Before we let you go, is there anything that you'd like to say to everyone who's watching?
Well, first of all, I want to encourage everybody to use the URL at the bottom of the screen here to help support the theater community in the Orlando area and in Florida. It's it's beyond just taking care of actors who are out of work and who don't know where their next job is coming from, but there's so many people connected to the theater that are suffering now and are going to be suffering for a long time and don't have the advantages of some of the other sources of funding and relief right now. So anything, I know there are a lot of demands on your generosity right now, but anything that you could do right now would really make a big difference and mean a lot to people.
Thank you very
so much. And thanks for being with us. Bye-bye.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Please be safe.
Great. Listen, folks, I'd like to mention we've had donations from Scott Poole, Dana Bumford, and Elaine Ewan Wood, starting us off with $400. If you've made a donation in the last few minutes, we don't see them in real time, so don't worry, we'll get to them. But our next guest is originally from New York City, where she began dancing at the age of 3, and by age 10, she was dancing the lead role of Clara in the American Ballet Theater studio version of The Nutcracker. After completing her education, which included Carnegie Mellon along with other places, she returned to New York and started acting all over the place. She was in a TV commercial for Dristan. Do you remember Dristan? And Budweiser beer. And she appeared on ABC Television's Equal Justice opposite Sarah Jessica Parker. Among her regional credits, she played Adelaide in Guys and Dolls opposite Barry Williams. And she also shared the stage with Jill Claiborne and Jane Curtin. In 1993, she opened the Center for Fine Arts, where she Impact Center for Fine Arts, where she and her talented staff taught theater and danced over 300 aspiring young artists, including the children of Meryl Streep, Jill Claiborne, Michael J. Fox, Kevin Bacon and Kira Sedgwick, and Tracy Ullman, just to name a few. Locally, she's been in more shows than I can possibly list here, but most recently, she played the self-absorbed film star Masha on stage with myself under the direction of Kenny Howard at the mall in Oviedo, where we did Vanya, Sasha, Masha, and Spike. So please welcome the lovely Melanie Veazey.
Hello, Melanie.
Wow, that was quite the introduction.
I know no matter what he says in introductions, it just all seems so important.
And it was so fabulous until the end, where it was, and we did this show, and it was in a mall. It was... I was like, I've done so much in my life, and now I'm doing theater in the mall.
It's wonderful publicity for Penguin Point Productions.
Which is a fabulous theater. We love Penguin Point. Please.
And it was an amazing experience.
Matthew,
really we would have never met.
We would have never met. I would have never gotten to follow Michael Cerveris, which is...
Right.
I mean, I was like very excited to watch and then follow Michael Cerveris. Anyway,
glad to have you. I had never met you until the read through for Vanya, Sasha, Masha, and Spike, and I just remember sitting there and watching her go, "Oh my God, she's every bit as good as what's her pussy from Broadway."
Sigourney Weaver.
Thank you. I think.
And you were. You really were. It was a delight to share the stage with you.
But we're not sharing stages right now. We're all no. Where are you? Where are you tucked in at?
I am tucked in my office in Maitland, Florida, suburb of Orlando, and have been here for 6 weeks now. Kind of moved everything online. I run a business that I put dance and drama enrichment programs into private schools, and so we've had to move all of that onto Facebook Live and figure that whole thing out. And then I coach voice acting and audition, and those have all become Zoom calls. So within 1 week, I had to reinvent my business.
Yeah.
And very, very stressful. I think so many people have shared that stress of what the heck do I do now? And how is it going to be moving forward? When, if schools don't open the way they did, can we go back into schools, or who the heck wants to coach online all the time, So,
right. Apparently not you.
Yeah.
From the tone of that statement, we'll assume
Well,
it's
no,
not you.
you know what it is? It's the kids. It's the kids. And, the first week it was exciting. The second week it was kind of still exciting. The third week they're like, oh my God. By last week, I had one kid forget. The other, they were fighting over who was going first because the other one wanted to be outside, and it's hard. It's really hard because we need human interaction.
This is why I try never to work with children.
You have at least one human interaction, right? Who are you tucked in with?
I am sequestered, quarantined with my fabulous husband, Bob Veazey. He is my rock in this time of stress and craziness. He is thankfully working still. He's in the lighting industry, and so we both work from home. So he just works away in his office and keeps me very grounded, which is, I need that desperately. Otherwise I'm like this.
So in all the names that Michael was dropping, which is very impressive, by the way.
I know.
He didn't mention, I just know because of working with you and hanging out with you, that one of your classmates was Billy Porter, and you have some really fun things that I would love for you to share about Billy.
No, I went to Carnegie Mellon and have my BFA in musical theater, and we had such amazing training. We call it boot camp, actually. But in the class below me was Billy Porter, and Billy Porter was we all knew back then that he was going to be famous in some way, shape, or form. But anywhere we were, we all took dance class together. We were in shows together. And in fact, I just pulled out, if we had more time, I have clips of me in the musical with Billy Porter, who's like tearing the stage up, and I'm this little skinny white girl in the corner, with Billy Porter, who's like throwing himself all over the stage. But we always knew he was destined for some sort of stardom. He had his equity card before we even knew what it was, and he has, not only is he talented, but he's truly a gracious, lovely man. If I have a student that I'm working with and, I can text him or call him and say, will you take a moment after your show? And he'll meet with my students. And so it's nice. I have a nice group of classmates that will always, we all help each other out, which is super cool.
That's fantastic.
Well, people would know it from coming to the show at the mall, but you sing.
They would not know that.
No.
And though I coach singing, I haven't sung on a stage in 3 years. And so when Kenny said, will you record yourself singing? Well, it was a heart attack, meltdown, but
yes, I do.
Being the professional that I am, I went through 27 songs before I said, well, I actually filmed one and then I didn't like that. So.
Yes, because you told us you were singing Adelaide's Lament, and that's
I did.
Yes.
I did.
But you changed your mind. So set up, what are we going to see?
I changed my mind because it was obnoxious.
Well, that's what we need.
I know. We need a little, we just had Michael Cerveris, the best singer on the planet. And I love what I do, but I am a comedic, give me an Adelaide, give me a Morticia, give me that type of character, a Masha. There needs to be a musical of Masha. And, there you go. But anyway, so this is from The Pajama Game. It is I saw this show at Carnegie Mellon. I was a freshman and I was running follow spot for it. And I fell in love with it. And it's still such a wonderful, carefree musical about a 7.5-cent raise that all of the workers.
I thought we would make it a little further in this process before we had to start booking spotlight operators, but here you are.
I love the fact that she paid to go to Carnegie Mellon for an MFA, and her first year, even there, they make you do the shit work.
That's right. That was part of we had to do crew. We had to do crew.
Yeah, us too.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, so this is just one of my friends is texting me right now. Kim Pizarski, stop that. This song is one of my very favorites. It's kind of a protest too much. I'm not in love, and that's it.
All right.
Okay.
That is
For the
it.
vagina game, Rick.
Love? Are you nuts? All you gotta do is say hello to a man, and they've got you whispering in his ear. All you gotta do is be polite with him, and they've got you spending the night with him. If there's a guy you merely have a beer with, they've got you setting the wedding date. It seems they've just gotta have some dirt to bend your ear with. So before you start, I'd herewith state, I'm not at all in love, not at all in love, not a bit, not a mite, though I'll admit he's quite a hunk of guy, but he's not my cup of tea, not my cup of tea, not he, not an ounce, not a pinch, he's just an inch too sure of himself for me. Well, I'm sure you've noticed that manly physique and that look in his eye. Well, I'm sure he could cut most any man down to size. He must be as fierce as a tiger when he's mad. And I bet he cries like a little boy when he's sad. But I'm not at all in love, not at all in love, not an ounce, not a hair. I don't care if he's as strong as a lion or if he has the rest of you sighing. You may be sold, but this girl ain't buying. I'm not at all in love.
Perfect.
Well, we should give a shout out to Jack from our show. She's a marvelous actress as well. She was Sonia. And a surprise for you, one of our fellow castmates who wanted to say hello. Mayor?
Oh, I'm just in love.
Hi. Aw. Hi, Spikey.
Interesting.
We're seeing a Matrix thing. Can you hear him, y'all?
Okay.
Oh, hold on. There I am.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the lovely and talented Matthew Buckalew, who played Spike at the mall.
Right
Melanie,
across from the Dollar General.
do you have any idea, Melanie, how jealous I was every night when I had to sit there by Sonia and watch you make out with Matthew?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm really not sorry.
Well,
No, so at first you were so we're so like, oh, I don't know when we're gonna try to do this, and finally was like, you just guys need to go into the other room and just make out, and start feeling comfortable with each other.
We
We
did.
did,
And
yeah.
then
No more of that. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then it was
We
fine.
took that
That's
great
it.
directing advice, and we just decided to go into the other room and get prepared. You know.
Yes.
Yes.
Uh-huh. And
That's-
then we're like,
Yes.
okay, it's been 15 minutes. How prepared are they getting, Kenny?
Oh, stop.
Well, then the first week of
Don't
rehearsal was
say
like,
anything
stop
about
hanging on
that.
Spike.
I do.
She's a married woman now. Shh.
am a married woman. Well, you know.
Matthew, for a lot of people, may be new to you because he's a recent graduate of the UCF theater department. And when did you graduate, Matthew? Matthew?
Hello?
Hello, Matthew.
Sorry, I just lost you there.
There you go.
When did
I
you
got a
graduate
poor
from
connection
UCF?
on this stuff. I graduated last year, actually, 4 days ago, or 4 days until I graduated a year ago. Yeah.
Very
Mhm.
good.
So I've been out for a year now. In the
And
real
right
world.
out of the chute, you got cast in.
I got cast in The Line in Winter with Penguin Point Productions. I got a call from Samantha Stern, actually. And I guess someone went down in that show, and was very thankful to be in that spot because it led me to Vanya and Sonia and Masha and Spike, and that led me
Good
to you
answer.
guys.
Certainly the highlight of your career. And you were working also at Universal Studios at the time. What were you doing up there in entertainment? Yes?
Yeah, at the time, I just graduated, and I was going on a couple different calls and stuff, working at Universal, doing a couple other side gigs. I did a PGA golf shoot as well over the summer, which was really cool. I did another golf fashion show shoot, and then I did a Harley Davidson and a American Crew hair shoot, which was really cool. But I think one of the coolest ways to perform is like just doing exactly what you love. And Harry Potter is something that I like really, really loved. And I got to do Death Eaters at Universal, and I got to be a Death Eater, and that was just something I ate up. Yeah, over in Hogsmeade during October.
Well, that was cool. And were you not friends with a superhero for a while?
Yeah, I'm still friends a little bit with Captain America and Cyclops. Yeah, we like to clean those streets on Marvel Island over there.
Great. Rich, if you would watch the comments, I'm just going to throw this out there, but if someone would comment in I can't see it, but there's running chat, yes? If someone would that they're willing to donate $50, I'll ask Matthew to take his shirt off.
Oh, okay.
We got to get some money.
Oh,
We got to make money.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
This
Thank
is
God
your-
it's not
They
me.
have seen too much of that.
Yeah.
But if you want to see more, you can follow me on Instagram at Matthew Buckalew.
Right.
All right.
Got the Instagram plug in there.
Well, let me know, Rich, if anyone says so. Melanie, we're going to invite you. Thank you so much for being with us.
You are more than welcome. Love you guys. Matthew, great to see you. And
It's such a-
everybody. What?
Oh, no. Do you watch Tiger King?
Yes.
Did she do it?
Oh, yeah. Of course.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Good.
100%.
There's
All right.
Please, everybody, give a little money to the URL below. Help all of us continue to be able to perform at some point.
Okay, don't hang up yet, Melanie, because I think you might want to see this. What do you have to say, Rich?
It seems like maybe they thought I was going to take off my shirt, and so nobody's doing anything. So we might have confused them.
Oh, that's awkward.
So we might want to let Melanie go before she gets frightened.
Oh my gosh. Well, you guys are the best. Thank you for having me.
Right.
This was so
Thank you,
fun.
Melanie. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Matthew, what's next for you? Do you know?
I don't know right now. I really don't. I'm actually kind of in limbo right now, I would say, as an artist. I feel like a lot of other people are in the same boat, just trying to figure out how to get your feet on the ground and just do something every day that makes you feel like an artist or makes you feel like you're creating or reading something. I actually just bought a book, an acting book, so I'll start reading that. But I don't know, auditioning via Zoom.
Auditions for, right?
Right. Via Zoom as of right now. I mean, I just finished my intensive course at Class Act, so I'm kind of off for the summer right now, looking for other classes. But film and television is something I'm interested in. But I mean, it obviously doesn't beat live theater, and we're just waiting at this point right now for auditions, right? So.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think Kenny and I both agree that you did an amazing job in the show we were on together, and I think you're brilliant, and you've got a big future ahead of you, my friend.
I mean, I can't thank you guys enough, seriously, for being such a great inspiration and opening arms, you know, to keep me on your wing and help me out as much as you guys can. And you guys are so inspiring as artists. I learned so much from you guys, and
it's very sweet.
Yeah. And did you watch the Tiger King?
I did, yeah. You know what's so funny? I didn't watch it at first. I didn't jump on the train until I heard that it was just like blew up, you know? And then one of my friends, Adonis, shout out to Adonis Perez, he goes, "You remind me of someone on the show," and he's like, "Just watch it. You'll see who." And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah." And I started watching it, and it was so funny. I reminded him of Travis.
Who did he remind you?
Travis. You remember that?
The boyfriend?
Husband.
Yeah.
One of the two husbands of the gay guy?
3 husbands.
Of the three or four? I don't know.
I don't think he does either.
Yeah, I can see that now. Well,
yeah. It was
well,
so funny.
All right. Well, actually, this just in. There's $75 on the table for me to keep my shirt on and for Matthew to take his shirt off. So
$75, Matthew.
For $75 for the arts, baby.
Ladies, applause, Rich, applause.
Now we can start the interview, right?
Yeah.
Our very first blocking rehearsal.
I think the camera
he takes
off.
clothes off
Weird.
throughout the entire show. I don't know, for those of you not familiar with the show. And normally that's something that, you know, we'd eventually work to. And we got to the scene and we were just, everything just came off. And
that very first rehearsal, you started taking off your clothes and throwing them at me. And I'm like, oh my God, this is only the first rehearsal. I have 3 weeks of this.
Oh my God. All right. I felt so weird that rehearsal when we were like inching up to it. I was like, okay, here we go. Like, this is where I take my pants off. Well, I take everything off. So I was like, yeah, like, I'm just going to do it. And I did it. And everyone was just like, no, stop, we're not there. I was like, what am I doing? I'm just trying to do it. Says it.
I don't think I was like that at all, really.
No, you were the only exception.
So pom-poms cheering it all along.
Anyway, it was a delightful association. And didn't you have someone you wanted to say hi to?
Yes, my mom. I want to say hi to my mom. I also want to say hello to Maddie McDermott. I want to say hello to him. Love him, Maddie.
All right, and your final words tonight are?
Spike. Also, click on the URL and please promote artists in the area. Seriously, it's hard. It's hard. But thank you again, guys, for having me on here. I love you guys.
Thanks for being a good sport and helping us raise $75.
Yes.
Get out of there. Thank you. See you tomorrow. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Kenny and Blue and I have been very fortunate to get a good deal of work through a local production house called the Imagination House, which is partially owned and operated by our good friend Joyce Arbusius and her husband Mike. Joyce is a past board president of Orlando Fringe. And when Kenny called her to ask if she would do a little PSA for us, she said, yeah, but I'm not going to do it quickly, because they're the Imagination House. So,
and it may have been like Thursday for a Saturday show. But,
yeah. But anyway, them being who they are, even though half of them are working remotely and whatnot, have a look-see at it's a lovely little message from all of our friends at the Imagination House.
Hi, everybody. We're the Imagination House.
We're the Imagination House.
We're the Imagination House.
We're the Imagination House.
We hope you and your families are staying safe through these upside-down times.
We've all been affected by the COVID-19 shutdown.
And we just want to say that we know things are tough right now.
But we're all in this together.
We're in this together.
So while you enjoy the performances today, we hope you'll consider donating to the Central Florida Artists Relief Fund.
Just go to the link at the bottom of the screen and give what you can. Every little bit helps.
Every little bit helps.
Every little bit helps.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay strong, Orlando.
Apparently, I think the video was buffering or sticking or
yeah,
whatnot. So our the Imagination House, it ran fine during tech rehearsal. We're going to try and run it again a little later in the show. Mike and Gabby and Joyce, don't worry about that. But I would like to announce that the Imagination House has just made a $500 donation to the cause, and they would like to challenge all the other production houses and video companies and whatnot who do similar work to what they do to match that. So we have a $500 donation from the Imagination House. So we're up to $900 already on this particular broadcast. So we are grateful to them, and we'll try and show that again later. Listen, this next guy. While making Orlando and non-Orlando sketches that have accumulated millions of views, you may have seen him, and then again, probably not, because the internet's a big place, you know what I'm saying? You may have heard him on the radio, but then maybe not, because everyone's listening to fucking podcasts. And you may have seen him doing stand-up comedy, but probably not lately, because pandemics kill live entertainment or so. He says he is the current 3-time winner of the Orlando Weekly Comedian of the Year acknowledgement, but you probably don't know that either. Anyway, please just welcome Rauce Padgett. And Rauce, we can't hear you.
Yeah, there we go. Now we're talking, right?
Oh, Rauce has got his shirt off as well.
Well, I figured that guy got $75.
Money, who'll give $75 for Rauce to put his shirt back on?
Yeah, see, there it is. We can raise money somehow. I'm either $20 or $75 for the shirt back on. I know what my body is. My question for you, fine gentlemen, who likes whole milk? Because my God. Everyone hates the 1%, but what do you guys think about 2%? Look at that.
See, you're making fun of yourself, but you're like totally my cup of tea, as you
All right.
know.
But I'm gonna switch to skim.
Yeah. I like how I'm Wanzie's oolong. That makes me happy.
I was really upset when we were trying to get a hold of you for the tech call, and you said you were sorry you were unavailable, but you were working out. And I'm like, oh no, don't mess up that perfect body.
Yeah, no, it's like the 4th time I've worked out in my life. So any interruption actually was, I needed it. I needed that.
Well, for those of you who are Fringe goers, you might know that Rauce is the very popular late night host of Tonight at Midnight, the show that goes on Fridays and Saturday nights, late night at Fringe, which is, I think, the first time you and I shared the stage together. Isn't that correct?
It is, and you got me VIP express pass tickets to the pumpkin patch.
Yeah. Well, that was more Michael Marinaccio's doing than mine.
Yeah, but I loved it. It's of legend. It's legendary. Your pumpkin. So if the people who are watching who don't know, for you to go down to the pumpkin patch, that means you got to slide off your kicks and let Wanzie become the mayor of your feet. And he just starts going to town and starts getting in there.
Video.
Oh my God. It was the only time I ever wanted to smoke a cigarette on stage was when I was in the middle of that pumpkin patch. I'll tell you what.
Well, it'll always be a fond memory of mine too, Rauce. Listen, you started out your career kind of at Universal Studios as well, correct?
I did, yeah. The first thing I was in animated. Shout out to people who are in FERT. That was my first big taste of entertainment, and although I wanted to talk, and I didn't because I really enjoyed that job, it was a massive learn. I learned so much from being able to perform in silence.
Inside a costume, a fur costume. But then you did get to do a face character, and I know they have rules where you can't always say what character you did, but I want to hear that voice. So how do we handle that?
Yeah, you got. How about this? This will. Who wants to hear my President Trump impression?
There you go.
Yeah, right? Yeah, this is my President Trump impression. This should answer your question. Like Zoink Scoob. See what I'm saying there? That's my Trump. A lot of people don't think it's spot on, but that's my Trump impression and the answer to your question.
Yeah. Your hair is the most combed I've ever seen it. I'm a little disappointed.
That's just that happened because I took off my shirt and I think a sleeve caught it and then brought it up to the right.
Well, so how did you decide that you were going to get into stand-up comedy?
Great question, and hopefully a good answer coming to you. I went to a theme park audition, and halfway through the monologue, I just thought, I'm not gonna get this job. I remember in the middle of acting out this monologue and going, I ain't shit. Like, this is not good. I knew it, and I had to go find a stage because being on a stage is a priceless education, and there's only one avenue that I was aware of that would just let you up on a stage, and that's open mic comedy. I did that for 2 or 3 years, and it just built my confidence up. I was getting some laughs here and there, and next thing I knew, I had a tight five. And I went into that same audition room with a lot of confidence. Dare I say too much, because I just thought the people across like, you guys haven't told jokes in a coffee shop and got heckled by a coffee grinder. This isn't nothing. This is nothing to me now. And then that's the mentality that I booked
ended
my
up
first
being
acting.
President Trump.
Yeah, and that's how I got to be President Trump for
Where
Universal Studios.
Where was your first open mic? Whose show?
It was at Best of British. That was ran by another local theme park actor, Kevin White, who I've actually since then done a lot of shows out of state with him. We did a couple shows in Georgia and I think like South Carolina, Alabama. But he was having an open mic. Best of British, may it rest in peace. It's no longer there. And my intention the first time I ever did stand-up was that I wanted to bomb. Because every comedian is telling me, like, yo, bombing is the absolute worst. So I was like, well, let's just get the hard part out of the way.
Okay.
And it's a strange decision looking back on it to go, first time, I'm going to do terrible. Here we go. I even wrote a joke that would bomb.
Which was?
What's funny about cancer? Absolutely nothing. That was my first joke. That was the first joke I ever wrote.
I think that's hysterical.
I mean, it's
in the context of bombing.
Yeah, in the context of bombing. Yeah, trying to do bad. But there wasn't even a lot of people there. I don't think there's a Webster dictionary definition of bombing because you guys have seen it too. I'm sure a lot of singers and actors go out and they come off stage and like, I did great. And you look at them and you're like, no, you did bad.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We would never.
And so everyone has their own gear of bombing. There's no absolute definition. But little did I know, you can't bomb on your first time, at least in my interpretation of the term, because you don't have good material yet. Once you have trusted and laugh-proof material, then you go out and none of it works.
That's bombing.
That's bombing right there. Especially you got 15 more minutes to go. You're getting paid to do 45. Woo-wee!
Well, listen, you sent us a clip. It's a very short clip. It's only about 2 minutes long, but clearly in this clip, you own the goddamn stage, and you are out there with complete and total confidence. Where is this, at the Improv, correct?
Yes, this is the off of I Drive, the Orlando Improv.
Well, let's give a look at how you appear on stage nowadays, Rich.
Whenever white people see a Spanish word, we think we can put on some Spanish zest on the pronunciation, and it is embarrassing every time. I fall guilty of it too. I brought my friend to Chipotle. It was her first time at Chipotle, and I introduced the menu, and I go, yeah, they have chicken, they have steak, they have barbacoa. And carnitas. Fuck, why did I say it like that, dude? And here's the thing, white people, that's the only accent we do that with. Only the Spanish accent. If I showed you my car out in the garage, I wouldn't go, yeah, that's what I drive, that's my car. I drive a Mitsubishi. It's the only accent we do that with. We need to cut that out, white people. Straight up. Here's another white peopleism. Here comes a white person factoid. White people have been stealing black people's culture for a very long time. Thank you. You don't believe me? I implore you to go home tonight and check out the documentary, Bring It On. That is a powerful film, Brown. It will change your perception, man.
Wow.
That's how you do it.
And that's how you do it, clearly.
Right? There's some stand-up for you.
Long way from that cancer joke, yeah.
A very long way. Long, an I-4 length.
It's amazing I still even talk to you because, in effect, you are responsible for ending a 20-year-long career stint. For 20 years, the Monday Movie Review with Wanzie and Doug was the comedy relief on the Phillips File. And when Jim Phillips retired, another Jim, I can't remember his name, took over that time spot and elected not to have Doug and I on anymore and brought you on for comic relief. So thank you for kicking me to the curb.
No, you stop that. I didn't kick you to the curb. I threw you out in the trash. No, it's what you did for radio was absolutely amazing. That's when I first got integrated with Real Radio 104.1. I started listening to every show and seeing what was working, and to be honest with you, what was not working. Your bit that you had for such a long time on the Phillips File, that it was bulletproof. You and Doug are absolute pioneers of this entertainment scene. And the one thing that does bother me though is like I just told a younger entertainer I'm doing this onesie thing, and he's 22 and he goes, "What is a onesie?" He thought it was he thought it was like a cleaning thing or something. I was like, no.
And there's no short answer to that question.
A chamois.
Yeah, it's for your feet.
Yeah, ShamWow, from the creators of ShamWow, we'd like to introduce you to the onesie. It's amazing. But I always try to tell younger performers about the people, because that fascinates me. My favorite entertainer of all time is Johnny Carson. I mean, he's before my time. But I always have this infinite amount of respect, and I think every young performer should find that infinite amount of respect for people who have been doing it longer and set out, the road that they're now walking down on.
Your acknowledgement of Johnny Carson is evidenced in your. I know it's Orlando Fringe, and people may think it's only local, whatever, but your emceeing of that show is on a par with any late night TV host that's on right now. amazed. I go every chance I get, and I think you're just phenomenal at it. I really do, honestly do. And I gotta say this, no disrespect to Jim Colbert or anyone, Dirty Jim, known him, he's a better friend.
Yeah.
But you're the fucking best thing on that goddamn show. And
thanks, brother.
My only regret about that show, well, not the only one, but my main regret about that show is your humor is so fast and so sophisticated that honest to God, I feel like 50 time right over their heads. They don't even realize you're being funny, and they have missed a golden opportunity to let you, you'll have your own show one day, I have no doubt.
Oh man, it would be a huge honor. And going back to that late night host show of Tonight at Midnight, that has been the biggest honor of my life. That late night talk show, I hope that the future doesn't forget about what those shows have contributed to American entertainment. So when I got asked to do it, I've done some really cool shit in my life. That is without a doubt the coolest thing I've ever been asked to do. I feel very lucky and truly blessed, but I take that as serious as I possibly can, because it gave me a new definition of being honored to do something.
And it wasn't when Jeff Jones and I invited you to perform at the Starlight Room at Savoy?
Unfortunately, no. It was great. That was a fun one. I enjoyed it. But that late night talk show at Fringe, because every Fringe around this planet has one of those. In Orlando, we had the midnight, we had the midnight cabaret, but there wasn't anything that was 6 or 7 nights. Right. So I've seen a lot of them. I've been to Edmonton's late night talk show, and I'm over here taking notes going, man, that works really well. How can we integrate what they're throwing down? It's truly a passion. It's my girlfriend's stand-up comedy Tonight at Midnight, in that order.
Well, good. Well, listen, I think our time has about come to an end. We were thrilled to have you. Thank you for taking your shirt off. That was an added bonus we didn't expect.
Yeah, there you go.
For me, please.
The milk buffet is always open. What'd you just request of me?
Mess up your hair.
Okay, here we go.
So you look normal. There you go. There's the shaggy we love. Ladies and gentlemen.
That's wrong.
Anything you have to say, parting words, Rauce?
Check me out on Real Radio 104.1 on the Jim Colbert Show. I'm the young guy on that show.
During the time we used to be on.
Yes, 3 to 7. But shout out to you, Wanzie. You are truly a pioneer in Central Florida, and I know I tell all the compliments about you, because people need to know where Orlando comedy and entertainment came from so we can see where to go in the future. Big believer of that. And also, check out this link. Donate money to this link, because we need to keep our actors still acting. Because if we don't have our actors acting in Orlando, we become Kissimmee. You don't want that. All right?
And on that note, we'll say goodbye.
I love you. Thank you so much.
You too. Thank you. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, become Kissimmee. Listen, we're like the Obama campaign and Sanders. The bulk of our donations, contributions, are not of the $100 or $500 level. They're of the $5 and $10 level. So please, if you're enjoying the show, if you have a few dollars to spare, take a moment, use the URL, and just give what you can. And if you're not in a position, then we're just happy to have you along for the ride. Listen, our next guest is someone without whom we couldn't be doing any of this, literally, and we'll talk a little bit about that after he's on, but he's the man at the tote board. He is the owner, publisher of Watermark, which is Central Florida's alternative LGBTQ news magazine, and he's with us tonight, so please welcome Rick Claggett. Or is Rick with us?
Well, he's not, because we need to go and get an update from Jacob real quick, and then I'll pull Rick in. So that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's
No,
it's good news.
No, so kids and other people, you remember Jacob Laval we had on last week, the child star from Broadway and HBO and whatnot. He issued a Cameo challenge and invited anyone who wanted to go on Cameo and request him doing a Cameo spot for you for $20. And apparently, thanks to you all, he has raised $300 doing the Cameo appearances through the week and is donating all $300 of that to this cause, which now brings us up to I think $1,200 for tonight's broadcast, right?
Fantastic.
We're at 9 and 3. And when we had him on, we talked about his connection with David Byrne from Talking Heads, and that was on a show that John Mulvaney does called the Sack Lunch Bunch. So let's look at a clip of Jacob Laval on the Sack Lunch Bunch.
Welcome to Paper Mache Time. This is the 100th episode. Today, we're going to make something that, well, to be honest, is kind of upsetting to me.
It's a volcano.
Yeah, it's a volcano. And when you kids don't know this, but when I was young, volcanoes made me really nervous.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Baltimore, and there's no volcanoes in Baltimore, but somehow I got it in my head that there could be an eruption.
This is taking too long. Let's pour the vinegar in.
I'm nervous.
Everything's going to be fine, David Byrne.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Whoa! That is pretty cool.
I told you, and you didn't believe me. And I'll never forget it.
Oh, okay. I'm totally shamed.
It's okay. I forgive you.
Thank you. This has been Paper Mache Time, episode 101. If you need more information, go to a library.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jacob.
Yeah, if you're watching, Jacob and Sherry, thank you again, and thank you for the $300 you raised for the cause. Remember, you can catch Jacob right now appearing in HBO's The Plot Against America.
To destroy.
To destroy America. I'm sorry, I can't ever get it right.
I know,
right? Rick Claggett, ladies and gentlemen, from the Tote Board at Watermark, actually in his house right now. Hi, Rick. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
We're just too good for words. Ladies and gentlemen, when we started to set this up, we realized we needed a way to collect funds. We went to Rick because he had a website. He had a for collecting money. He had a way for us to collect the applications for assistance in the whole 9 yards. He jumped in double barrel and has been with us ever since, much to his dismay. But what I want to ask first and foremost, Rick, is what is that painting behind you?
Oh, this painting, it's two kissing fish, I think. I don't know if that was the original intent of the artist or not. But a lot of people are familiar with my roommate, Jen Kunch, that I live with here in Orlando. Well, this is a painting that was done by her uncle, Louis Kunch, who was an artist in New York. He was estranged from his family because he was gay. They weren't very accepting of that. So Jen, ironically, one of the biggest fruit flies I've ever met, she didn't really get to know him very well. But when he passed away, she and her sister were the only two living relatives. So they stood to inherit a good chunk of change from him, which went to purchasing this house that I'm sitting in. So in his honor, and because we would love to have known him, we hang all of his paintings. He's got our living room's full of a bunch of watercolors of his. But this room in particular is full of what must have been the later years of when things got really crazy, because there's just some really crazy paintings around in this room.
And weren't you watching? Don't you have a story about watching some sort of a national telecast of the show? Something you
Yeah, there was. It's kind of funny. We got a phone call and we're like, "Oh my God, you've got to watch $1 Million Listings. I think your uncle's paintings are on there." So what we did is we all went to New York to clean out his studio, and we're talking like tens of thousands of paintings. And we picked out the ones that we liked the most, or we thought we'd like to keep. And the rest were just bought by somebody wholesale. And it turns out it was a realtor from $1 Million Listings, a TV show. I don't even know what network it's on. But yeah, the guy had it was selling an apartment in New York, and he had covered it with all of these paintings from Louis Kunch, and he was saying, I need you to sell the paintings when you sell the house. And he was interested in the house, but nobody wanted the paintings.
Oh, Lord. This may lead to, you could maybe have a Fringe show at your house where people go through and tour the paintings.
I'm writing that down. I have always wanted to have a Fringe show, and that is a really great way to do it.
That's a great one.
You know, Al Bergante offered up his pool one year, and Voce Dance did an aquacade in his backyard for a Fringe show.
Yeah, get Ross to be the curator.
So what's the deal with Watermark? How has this pandemic impacted the paper?
Well, we're open still today, so that's a good sign. Like a lot of businesses are suffering right now, and Watermark's really no different from that. Even though we're a corporation, it's just owned by me. We're a community-based business, is what I like to say. And when the community is suffering, so are we. Absolutely. And it's been a series of ups and downs. I haven't really shared this information with anybody really, but we've had to cancel magazine productions that we typically do, like our wedding guide didn't come out. We had a couple of new ones that we were going to do that we've had to postpone just because we're losing distribution spots, and a lot of companies that can't afford their advertising have pulled out. So we lost a great deal of money, and we had to lay off a huge part of our staff. Fortunately, that layoff only lasted about 36 hours. When the payroll protection program finally came through for us. So that was pretty amazing. We were able to get everybody back, and we're trucking along and doing great, for now, while that program is in existence. But certainly, it could be a huge benefit to us if people who are watching would check us out online, flip through. We still are just being in some locations, and a lot of them really, but if you can't get out safely to get a copy of the paper, we post a flip through online. So please just check it out. Look at the advertisers who are in there. That's the only way that we're able to report in the stories that are going on in our community. And so please support those businesses.
So the first part of that URL before the / watermarkonline.com, and they can access actual flip page by page. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. That's on all of our issues, back issues, every specialty guide's on there.
Well, we would be remiss if we didn't thank you publicly for you have been the man in an ongoing unfortunate situation we've had dealing with the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Affairs. And honestly, without you taking the lead on that and dealing with it, we probably wouldn't be able to be broadcasting right now. So thank you for that. And someone decided to cause trouble for us and made a formal report to the state of Florida, and they had no choice but to open an investigation to check into our suspicious fundraising activities and possible fraudulent use of funds. But obviously, we're able to show that every penny that comes in goes right back out to the artist. And I guess that right now the stopgap is that we have to stop using the term Central Florida Performing Artists Relief Fund, because it sounds like it might be a registered charity, which it isn't as of yet. But it's through Rick's constant go back and forth with the state that we're even allowed to be here under. The URL may change next week or the week after, and we may have to change how we're collecting money, but he personally has made it so that we could keep on even while we're under investigation. So thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I thought that maybe what just pushed it through. I think they got so tired of me that they started referring to me as Mr. Claggett on all of their emails. And then it was basically like, the last one was like, Mr. Claggett, thank you. Like, just do that and you're fine. So
yeah, it's stop the name of the fund. Yeah.
Yeah. They were great though to deal with. And I understand that, you got to make sure that if people are collecting money that they're doing it, that they're legitimate. And so I get that. And since we can so easily prove that, it was really an easy process, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
And so far, we have managed to give a $100 gift to 149 people on our list. We have 38 people still on the wait list who are waiting to be recognized with a gift. So that's why we're continuing to do the showcase. And we couldn't do it without you, Rick. So thank you for being with us. And send me an update after you go off.
The work is not done.
Right, you're at the toe board. Come on, get back to work. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, guys.
Oh, Lordy. Rich, do we want to try the Imagination House video again, or?
Sure, let's try it.
And if it sticks, just cut it off, and we'll.
Okay.
Hopefully, see it better next week.
It's so good.
Fingers crossed, Joyce.
I watched it without it.
Hi, everybody. We're the Imagination House.
We're the Imagination House.
We're the Imagination House.
We're the Imagination House.
We hope you and your families are staying safe through these upside-down times.
We've all been affected by the COVID-19 shutdown.
And we just want to say that we know things are tough right now.
But we're all in this together.
We're in this together.
So while you enjoy the performances today, we hope you'll consider donating to the Central Florida Artists Relief Fund.
Just go to the link at the bottom of the screen and give what you can. Every little bit helps.
Every little bit helps.
Every little bit helps.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay strong, Orlando.
The commercial.
We're back.
Tamisha show.
Yeah. So we're back live. Yep.
All right. So we'll try and work that out for next week. It's
yes.
So good. We'll get a clean copy or whatever. Our next and final guest, I don't have a formal introduction for because I can't imagine that anyone watching doesn't know who these two people are. Tymisha Harris, who of course I think a lot of people saw first in varieties at the venue and then various burlesque type shows and things, who really came into her own and eventually became the star of Josephine, the one-woman show about Josephine Baker, which has literally taken the entire globe by storm. Yes. Todd Kimber, I believe, wrote the book and plays the accompaniment tracks, and Michael Marinaccio, who is Tamisha's life partner, is the producer and the marketing director of the thing and the road manager. And anyway, between the two of them, they have garnered major awards at just about every festival that they've entered, and rave reviews and sold out houses everywhere from Europe to Australia, Canada, and America. So let's please, before we bring them on, let's show, and this has a date on it in a theater, but this is a commercial that they run for the show as it travels around the world. And just in case you haven't seen Josephine, this will give you just a little taste of it. Rich?
The only person that they don't strip search is the exhibitionist.
I thought it was fantastic. It was just so vibrant and colourful and energetic and really emotional, really funny. She's just absolutely brilliant. I could watch that every night.
And so to me, and life will always be loving on.
Josephine, here they are. The power couple of Orlando, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Marinaccio and Tymisha Harris. Hi.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Hello.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah. Kenny, take I've been blabbing.
So, wow, that was unexpected. But I have started off every call with how is it in quarantine or shelter in place, as you will, with the two of you? Going well?
Yeah, I think so.
Good.
I don't know. How do you feel, Tymisha?
Wait, that was a different.
You sure?
It actually has been going very well. I have a nice little place outside that I can escape to, and it's been wonderful.
Yeah, we converted the garage last year into the Tymisha shed. So she has her costumes and a little loft. And she can sleep out there when I'm driving her crazy, or just spend time. She has mirrors walled for dancing.
Mirrors and
she's creating a garden out there. It's pretty great. I mean, honestly, we're used to having longer stretches of just kind of downtime because we spend about 4 months on the road out of the year. So then we'll get home and we'll have a couple of months. It's usually a lot busier, so this has been great for us to be able to get things done around the house, So
when she goes into the Tymisha, do you lock the back door or what?
Sometimes, yeah.
And I have the spare key inside, so.
Well, I think everybody's aware that Michael was steering the Orlando Fringe Festival for quite some time, and his role at Fringe changed, I think, primarily to accommodate your touring schedule. Tell us what it's been like touring, and what's like. Give us a couple of the highlights of.
Oh wow, yeah. So we didn't really expect the success that we've had with Josephine. So when we started writing it in 2015, we just thought it'd be a cool thing to do and be able to get out on the road. But it really kind of took over our lives, and so being on the road has been amazing. We've seen some of the most incredible places on earth. We just got back right before the national emergency was called. We got back just in time from Australia, where we did the Adelaide for the first time, and won several awards, Critics' Choice, a Critics' Circle Award.
Critics' Circle Choice.
We extended the run, sold out the show. And it was really, really just a big, warm embrace being there. And then we got to go to these really places. We spent a couple of days in a place on the beach and winery and cliff sides. And,
kangaroos.
And petting kangaroos and koalas.
Koalas and kookaburras and all that reptile shit. Saw the biggest spider. Biggest spider I've ever seen in my life, and huntsman spider.
Oh, his first day, she was terrified.
What's the house you played, Misha?
Say it again.
What's the largest audience you played in front of?
In shows? Oh gosh, probably the Plaza here in Orlando, and then in Adelaide we went outside and did a smaller fringe called the Sterling Fringe, and actually performed in our first tent. That was probably only supposed to be 100 people, maybe.
I don't know. I think the tent probably was meant to fit 60. And they fit 150. I swear, I've never seen them.
Old people.
They literally shoved old folks in there. It was.
People were exiting through the back of the tent where my entrance was. They had an air. It was one of the best experiences ever for anyone.
It sounds like an amazing experience. So you've got a couple of videos for us. Which one are we seeing first? The My Heart Belongs to Daddy?
Yes.
Can you set that up for us?
And they're adorable, by the way. We had a tech yesterday, and this is just fantastic.
Yes, actually, Tymisha originally sent us in performance videos, and we were like, people really want to see you in your house. They want to know
in your Tymisha.
They want to know you're working for them, trying to pull them into this thing. So, so last night in the tech rehearsal, we were like, well, "This is okay, but would you mind maybe tomorrow getting up in the morning and recording 2 songs
doing
for
some
us?"
homework and doing some.
And so she did. So set this one up first to me.
And this is her in the morning, just when you start.
I woke up like this.
Yeah,
I
you
woke
might
up like
just
that.
like it.
So I just decided to show you all what the Tymisha looked like, and what it kind of goes on, what's been going on in there, and sing a little bit. And yeah,
well, it's gorgeous.
Just having some fun.
Oh my goodness. Excuse me, you caught me off guard. I was just fixing my little summer frock. You know. And I thought I would sing a song. Coming to you live from a place called the Tymisha, whatever day this is in 2020. Is it almost over? No? Okay, just checking. And I also thought I would dedicate that song to one of the main reasons why I have a Tymisha, since it's always so curious and people are wondering. Nobody's wondering. While tearing off the game of golf, I may make a play for the caddy. But when I do, I don't follow through, 'cause my heart belongs to Daddy. If I invite a boy some night to dine on some fine fin and hattie, I just adore his asking for more, 'cause my heart belongs to Daddy. Yes, my heart belongs to Daddy. I simply couldn't be bad. Oh, my heart belongs to Daddy. Dad, 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 dad. I want to warn you, laddie, I think you're perfectly swell, but my heart belongs to Daddy, 'cause my daddy treats me so well. Yes! Oh, my heart belongs to Daddy. I simply couldn't be bad. Oh, my heart belongs to Daddy. Dad, 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 dad. I want to warn you, laddie, I think you're perfectly swell, but my heart belongs to Daddy, 'cause he treats me so nice. Yes, he treats me so nice, 'cause my heart belongs to Daddy.
Yeah. And that was at 7 o'clock this morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. First
Just
cup
now-
of coffee.
Now,
Rich,
just
Ron,
imagine
what
all
did
of
you
that
tell us,
stuff-
which Ron was your favorite part? Rich?
Oh, the spin, the spin around with the chair when she's spinning around. The production value is unbelievable, and it all came together in the morning. Did we mention that it just happened this morning? Yeah.
I think we might have covered that.
Most of that stuff that's in the Tymisha was actually in this room for a long time.
Yeah, I finally got my office back. Which,
there's the reason.
I remember
this thing got
leaving the kitchen involved walking through a sheet of boas and yeah.
Is that also moved to the Tymisha? The boas?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I took out everything I could.
Well, the next number is one of the loveliest numbers from Josephine. Why don't you set that up for us? It is my favorite.
So when Todd and I were first working on the kind of structure of the show and creating the piece, we knew we needed an 11 o'clock number. And this number is actually a song that Josephine sang. There's a great recording. You can find it on YouTube. Just look up Josephine Baker singing this song. And her version is so far out there. I don't even know how the band follows her. She just does her own thing with the show. So our version was kind of taking that essence and then combining it with kind of a little more made to make a little more sense musically and fit Tymisha's voice really well. And it just Todd's arrangement, her singing it, and the timing in the show, it just makes it a really knockout number.
And the title of the song is?
Times They Are A-Changin' by Bob Dylan.
And this is gorgeous, direct from the Tymisha, Rich.
I like how that wasn't the right song. Come gather round, people, wherever you roam, and admit that the waters around us have grown. And accept it that soon we'll be drenched to the bone. I hope that time to you is worth saving. So you'd better start swimming or you'll sink like a stone. For the times they are a-changin'. Come writers and critics who prophesize with a pen, please keep your eyes wide, the chance won't come again. And don't speak too soon, for that wheel still spins, and there's no telling who that it's naming. For the loser now will be the later to win, for the times they are changing. Come senators and congressmen and women, please heed our calls. Don't stand in the doorways. Don't put up your walls. For those who get hurt will be the pulse of us all. There's a battle outside, and I know that it's raging. Oh, it'll soon shake your windows and rattle your walls. For the times they are a-changin'. Come mothers and fathers throughout our beautiful lands, and don't you criticize what you don't understand, for your sons and your daughters are beyond your command. Your old hateful road is rapidly aging. Oh, so please get out of a new one if you can lend a hand. For the times they need a
Just beautiful.
Gorgeous. And to that, I think we should have a shot.
Oh.
That's good. We are drinking Maker's Mark here, just to advertise our sponsor. I'm just kidding.
What do you got?
We give them a lot of money, actually.
I got Deep Eddy Grapefruit. We read fuck whatever.
Vodka.
Have a
Cheers to
Lite.
Josephine and Tymisha and Michael.
To the survival of
the human race.
The human race.
Yeah.
So, final question, Kenny.
Tiger King. Yes.
I unfortunately have seen it twice.
Unfortunately? Oh, I watched it again with Michael.
Well, I binge watched it one night. I was just like, oh my God, this is just too much. And I came in before all the fuss. Like it just popped up in Netflix. I was like, all right. Yeah. Then all the hullabaloo, and then Tymisha's like, I have to watch it, and so I ended up watching most of.
I kept coming in and out when he binge watched it. Like, oh, that's a funny part. Ooh, this is going to be a hot ass mess. Oh my God, what the hell's going on?
I mean, every episode, you're like, well, wow, this is crazy. It can't get any.
Oh, I got to watch this whole
damn
thing. And boom, everything happened.
Did she do it? Do you think she killed her husband?
Silent but deadly, yes.
I gotta say, definitely yes. I mean, it's just too perfect that she fed him to the tigers. She was gonna lose her tigers. I can't.
Tigers or.
I also.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert!
However many guests I asked,
Everyone
zero
said,
for yeses. So.
It's just like, come on.
I also think that Joe Exotic sang his own song, so I'm probably not a good guy to trust.
Oh yeah, no.
Oh, he didn't.
No, he didn't sing his own song.
No. The whole time I was saying to Kenny, that is not him singing. That is not him singing. And then went online, found out it wasn't.
Yeah.
You guys have the final word today as we leave. Do you have anything you'd like to tell everyone? I know you do.
You know, don't give up hope. Don't give up understanding. Don't give up each other. This form. Don't give up yet. Don't give up on each other yet. Continue to wash your hands and practice social distancing on the outside, but conserve water. That's a whole nother issue.
We'll save you for next year's pandemic.
My advice is to find the silver lining. You know, take this time. If you've got time off, then use it to do something that you want to do. Learn a language or do something that you want to do for you. So take that time and don't feel guilty about just sitting around binge watching TV all day if that's what you need to do too.
Better yourselves, ourselves.
Well, one thing I love about this show is each week I ask that of everyone, and we'll have some serious conversations sometimes with like Michael at the top of the show, but then humor always comes back, and there's always that silver lining, and I think that's just us as artists, as human beings, and I mean, if we don't have that silver lining, I don't know what we do. And there is a silver lining. So
you're right.
Yeah, well, we're more used to this than most of the rest of the world. I mean, artists are used to having periods of no work and no money coming in and figuring out what to do with yourself and your life. So I feel you're more prepared than a lot.
I realize that
it is thrown at us.
I realize that this is probably the first time that, as an independent artist and a performance artist, this is the first time I've ever stopped and had nothing to do.
Yeah.
I had to force myself to make the projects in the shed and all these things, but that was a great decompress for my post-show decompression after Australia. That was a great way for me to decompress and clear out a lot of things in my life.
For sure.
So.
Well, I want to contact Mike so I can say that sentence next year.
Well, we can't thank you enough for being with us. We love you. Bye-bye.
Oh, love you guys.
Bye.
So, ladies and germs, we have had donations from the lovely David Lee, Chris Yakubchik, an off-time contributor, Robert Curry, an off-time contributor, Miles Thurgood, who I believe I've mentioned before, Darlene Dongi, who has contributed before. Thank you all so much for treating this like a night out at the theater and continuing to tribute. So along with the money that Jacob raised, his $300, and the $500 from the Imagination House, $100 from Elaine Wood, we have raised, ladies and gentlemen, tonight, $700 in excess of our goal, which is to raise $1,000 at each broadcast. Our total for this evening is $1,700. That is another 17 people off of our 38 waiting who will get a $100 gift thanks to your generosity. Rich.
Thank you.
Hey.
Who's that?
It's my co-producer, Oliver. He's been manning the camera board. That's why sometimes the switch gets a little bit weird. You know, he doesn't have thumbs. So he's doing the best he can, but he's been very patient, worked real hard on the show this week. So This is his 15 seconds.
Someone else who worked hard on the show this week is David Dorman.
Oh, God, yeah, for sure.
We called him up and said, at the beginning we have a hold, but there's nothing to let the audience know we're holding. Could you make a little video that lets people know we're holding on purpose? And I think we had that at the beginning of tonight's broadcast. And that's all David's doing, as well as the intro and outro credits. And if Matthew Buckalew, if you're still watching, we didn't have you in the opening credits because you were a surprise guest for Melanie, but David does have you in these end roll credits. And with that,
he's good.
I think we'll say goodnight.
Thank you.
Watch the credits, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. See you later. Next week.